Now can we factually observe not only the idea of me, the idea of the center, but also observe the movement of the senses. The various senses, which is actually sensations. These sensations, touch, all the rest of it, these sensations exist, are actual. There must be. You cannot deny sensations. But when thought identifies itself with those sensations, then the structure of the center is beginning to be formed. Capito? Right? Please, it's not intellectual observation. Just ordinary daily fact, if you observe. The senses. One likes a particular form of food, drink, smoke, drugs. And thought then identifies itself with that particular food and says the taste of it, the smell of it, the delight of it. And with that identification, in that identification, the center is formed. That's obvious. Now, can you observe? Please listen to this. It's very interesting if you go into this. Can you observe the movement of the sensations, whether it be sexual, whether it be taste, hearing, or seeing? Can you observe the movement of those ordinary natural sensations without identifying? Do you understand this? Am I saying something strange or neurotic or bizarre? It's very important to understand this, because we go into this problem of identification. Where there is no identification, there is no center. Right? It is this constant identification with my senses, with my body, with my thoughts, with thought. You follow? The whole movement of identification. Identification being attachment, inseparable attachment, and with all its associations. And so there is this identification is a movement of energy, and that energy becomes more and more and more limited, which is the center. Right? So we're asking, is there an observation of the senses without any form of thought identifying itself with a particular sensation. You understand? Sensations are natural. If you have no sensations, you are utterly paralyzed. Perhaps most of us are. Only in one particular direction, sexual or other direction. But we are talking of the movement of all senses, not one particular sense. If you see the logic of it, the reason of it, that the moment thought says, thought identifies itself with a particular sensation or with all the sensations, that identification is the movement of building up the narrow, building this vast energy into a narrow channel. Right? Have I explained? Have I made it clear? Now, there's no speaker. Only in conversation between ourselves, as two human beings, we are discovering this. You are discovering, not the speaker. There's no speaker. So you are discovering that any form of identification, not only with the senses, with the family, with the nation, with ideas, with conclusions, and so on, is the beginning of narrowing down this vast energy and limiting itself, therefore resisting the vast movement of life, right? Huh? May I take a breath? So we're asking, as you're sitting there, can you observe your senses without any identification? Identification with the body, look, it's very, very serious what we're going into. If you don't want to listen, don't listen. Think about something else. But if you listen with your heart, with your mind, with your whole being. As we are trying to go into this question of releasing the tremendous energy which is now canalized into a very, very small, narrow prison from which we act. And there is not only the identification with the senses, therefore with the body, then identification with the name, right? Of course. Even if you give yourself a new name or a new number, that's still identification, which the monks do, and so on. Why does thought constantly identifying itself with something? You understand my question? Which you are doing. My wife, my son, my family, my girl, my boy, my house, my quality. I have experienced so much, I must hold on to that experience. I have identified myself with Christ, with Krishna, the whole gamut of objects of identification. Why does thought always identify with something or other? Don't you, if I may ask, not as a speaker, you're asking yourself, don't you ask yourself why? Why do I identify myself with the form, with the name, with all the experiences which I have gathered? Or the future identification? Why? Why does thought do this all the time? My house, my wife, my belief, my God, my country. I am British, you are French, I am German, you are Russian. You follow? Why? Is it because thought, being in constant flux, please find out, I'm just inquiring, find out, being in constant flux, movement, needs security about something. Inquire, don't, please, you are inquiring, asking yourself this. When you say it's my house, that gives you certainty, stability, security. When you identify, your thought identifies itself with a house, it is necessary. It gives it security, shelter, safety, protection. The physical identification with the house gives it security. But watch it. That movement of identification with a physical necessity is taken over psychologically. Right? There it is necessary, but here it may not be necessary at all. But we are constantly doing this. And then the necessity, having clothes, though we may not identify myself with my trousers, shirt or blouse or whatever one wears, but the attachment, the physical need, and from that need move into a psychological ground When you say it is necessary, there too. And it may not be. You're following this? I wonder if you are. Doesn't this take place always, generally, from the purely physical, the need for food, the need for clothes, the need for cleanliness, and all the rest of it, that movement spills over into the psychological area. And the spilling over from this to this may be totally unnecessary, may be an illusion. There is only that and not this. I wonder if I mean. We'll go into this very carefully. After all, what is the ground, the area, the field of the psyche? Understand? We understand more or less the physical. One needs food, clothes, and shelter. That's obvious. And the danger comes when we identify ourselves with that. So, it's my clothes. Right? It's my property. Don't touch it. Now, that necessity has been identified by thought as mine, and that same movement from the physical to the psychological, my experience, my desires, my longings. You understand them? I wonder if you're understanding this. Because you see, what we're trying to point out is there's no speaker. What, in observing in the mirror, if you observe very carefully, you might see that what is necessary physically, that same idea has been brought over into the psychological realm. And that has become much more important than the other. One can have very little food, not be concerned, but don't interfere with my power. I want position. I want this, I want that, psychologically. You understand what I'm saying? Are you discovering this in the mirror for yourselves? Or I am pointing it out and you observe it and accept it. That accepting is merely a form of persuasion, a form of pressure. Where there is pressure, acceptance, there is no investigation.